someone who's usually pretty considerate, you can be surprisingly dense at times.
I don't know what you're expecting me to say to that.
I'm gonna give this to you straight. The women out here are very jealous. You had an encounter outside of the village and they can't handle it. You clearly haven't seen a mirror today. Whoever it was left quite a few hickeys on your neck.
Oh. That damn dryad! She's freaking terrifying!
R.E. Monster. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Let's go. R.E. Monster episode 3. Okay, here's the thing, my friends. Not every anime is trying to do this, okay? Not every anime is trying to be this. But little did I know that it was going to require a goblin anime, you know, a monster anime to finally fulfill some of the things that I think we all end up kind of like seeking out in anime. Here's the thing. Here's what I'm trying to say, because you're like, what the hell are you talking about, Dom? A lot of anime, not a ton, but, you know, because there's some that doesn't involve this at all. But I think there is a huge portion of anime that ties in harem vibes or ties in ecchi vibes. And it could be reverse harem, reverse, you know, it could be either, you know, either gender, whatever, right? But there's a lot of anime that end up making, you know, ecchi, or, you know, making, you know, the MC, whoever the main character is, seek out, you know, the desires of them. But the MC usually falls flat. They're a big puss bag. They're like the densest, they're like the densest person in the forest, right? They're like the oldest tree. They just never get it. So more often than not, we're left disappointed in that area of the show because we never get that portion of it fulfilled. It's like more often than not, I kind of get like, well, you know, and I think an anime I'm going to cover today is 𝐒𝐡𝐚𝐧𝐧𝐞𝐥, where, you know, this anime involves an MC who has a dragon girl and a spider girl who would jump his bones in a second if he just gave them the green light, but he just doesn't get it, you know, or he just doesn't want to do it. It's very frustrating. So a lot of times these shows, part of their identity is this like ecchi harem thing, but we never see that fulfilled because the MC usually sucks, and it's, I guess, usually a representation of the author or something, but it's always super disappointing. Ooh. R.E. Monster, though, yo, our boy over here, like, he's getting it. First off, he goes into the forest and he finds a dryad. And apparently, dryads in this world are more like succubuses. They basically go and they suck the hell out of the life force of anybody who enters their domain. And that's already effing just funny. So he goes in there and he just like, and he just powers up his D and, you know, to 9,000, and he just goes in and he lays it down, right? Because he's existed now for, I think we're on 45 days in this world, which in goblin years is like a lot, right? Because goblin time passes different, or ogre time now, whatever I guess you can call it. But he's lived in here for a while and he's like, yo, it's been a minute. And it's been since my last world since I've, you know, and he's like, yo, so he let it all out. He shows up. I didn't even realize it. I don't know if you did, but he shows up to the camp, right? He comes back home. He washes himself off. He says he had a good day. Like, bro's out there just like, ooh. You're like, oh. He's like, I'm feeling good. You know what I mean? You know, he got all the stuff sucked all out of him. He shows up at the goblin camp as home, and bro's hickeyed up. He got love marks all over him. So all the girls are like, fuck you, dude. And he's like, yo, what's everybody going on with me? So he goes visit the alchemist, you know, finally, which I thought was hilarious. And she's the one giving it straight. She's like, yo, I'm jealous too, but I'm gonna tell you, like, this is why. And he shares an intimate night with all the girls, the two blondes, the blacksmith, the red hair, Gabachi, the girl, the goblin girl, and the alchemist. And he's like, yo, whatever happens, I'm gonna take responsibility for it. But he lays it down. And I was like, yes. And I know it sounds silly, you know, from some kind of degree, but it's like, okay, we're only 3 episodes in and he's already fulfilled that thing. So it's a lot of the shows, what they end up doing is like they kind of dangle this will they, won't they carrot. And 98% of the time it's a won't they, or, you know, we just never get to actually witness the MC finally, like, you know, his balls dropping and getting some cojones, you know. The ones that feature the female MCs, those are typically fulfilled. You know, they usually, we actually do end up getting some kind of relationship or something like that. But the ones that follow the male MCs, it's like 98% of the time, they just never happen. And it's just always like, it's always one of the things where like, I wish they wouldn't even go down that avenue if this MC is just going to be this big, dense puss bag. So I am glad that now what this show gets to do now is it gets to say, okay, we've fulfilled this desire not only for our main character, right? So we've fulfilled this desire here, and he's laying down the pound town, like he's laying down the, he's laying down pipe. So we get to fulfill that. But then what the show also gets to do is say, okay, now that won't be like a focus. We're gonna move that over here, and you already saw that it happened. He got like all 8 girls or whatever it was, or 5 girls, 6 girls, whatever. He's like, that's gonna happen regularly, but that's no longer a focus. Now we just move the story forward, and you already know he can lay down pipe. So it's like, okay, we don't got to worry about that anymore. Or they don't have to make it like a point, It's just something that'll happen as he sees fit. Now we can move the story forward as he wants to. He wants to now. This episode he met a little pixie. What it was like I don't even know, like a gem thing that was by some wizard who hated humans in this world, and they got a bunch of different. They got a bunch of different, like, really rare, legendary items. Apparently, like, people go to war over these types of items that they received. And they got gold, and he got a bunch of different abilities. He got an item box. And he's like, okay, now I want to start, like, a militia type deal. So now we get to see the story move forward on, like, okay, will he offer his service? Like, will his goblins be hired hands? You know what I mean? Like, now he can start kind of, like, really preparing his domain and like really starting to like spread his seed, because bro gonna have babies. It looked like he made the dryad pregnant. But he can start really thinking about his domain and like kind of like spreading across his reach. And now they have a bunch of items and stuff to back that up. So now we can kind of see the story really move forward and like what's gonna come next. So he's evolved. Excuse me. He's evolved. He's got this hand now. He's got this hand that he's got both hands back. One's metalish, but hey, whatever. He's got both hands. He's laid down pipe, so that's done. He has a bunch of legendary items. He found that there's certain goblins now who have magic, and he was able to assign them to the person, the mage goblin, who she didn't have anybody under her before. Now she has 2. So now he has, his bowman. He has his spearmen, he has his front line, he has his mages, right? So now he's starting to build out what would be like goblin militia. So like, what's the next step now? Is it to expand the domain? What's going to be that thing that's next? And that's going to be what's really interesting to see. So RE Monster is really just like, it's nailing all the things. Like, remove the female, male, harem stuff. Remove that. It's still nailing everything else. It's like, okay, he's evolved. He's got all these new skills. He's got an item box. He's heavily trained up these goblins. He just faced down these like really, really strong adventurers. Like he would classify them as like really powerful adventurers. And he was able to just like kind of flick them, which means that the goblins under him, although they're not to his level, would also be able to easily overcome these really powerful adventurers. So it's like, okay, well, what's that next thing now that they're going to be seeking out? Next episode is called Reject, so Reject. So I don't know what's going to happen next episode, so very interested to see. But I mean, RE Monster so far, like one of my favorites this season for sure. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comments below. And man, he laying down the pipe. Love it. All right, I'll see you guys next week for episode number 4, my friends. Peace.